and welcome back to Mika Reacting Reviews. We're reacting to things on the internet. And today we're returning to Maher. He's gonna be talking about the reason why people aren't fucking anymore. And so we're gonna get right into it. But before you do, if you like this type of videos, please like, comment, and subscribe. Hit that bell to get the notifications when I do upload. All of that really does help with the algorithm, guys. And if you'd like to support this channel even further, you can donate. My PayPal link is in the description box below and also in the comment section. Of course it helps, but you don't have to. You can just like, comment, subscribe. And another great way to support the channel, you can either join my brand new membership program, different levels, different tiers, different perks, or you can visit my brand new merch shop. Links down below. Other than that, sit back, relax, and enjoy the video. All right, here you go.
Now, there's certainly no denying that there has been a lot of toxicity associated with men throughout history, oceans of brutality, all of which is horrible, and some of which is why our species still exists on Earth. There are brave women fighting in Ukraine, but the images of people fleeing all seem to be women and children, while every able-bodied man in Ukraine is sticking around to fight and maybe die. It's not always a great advantage being a man. And toxic though we may be, we do sometimes come in handy. This is something I've heard for years, that women just want a man who listens. Don't try to fix their problems. Put that to the test sometime. Go over to her house tomorrow and fix her radiator. I bet she loves it. When there's a noise downstairs, someone has to go into the dark. And most women, yes, still want a man to do it. And if he doesn't, or can't, or won't, it's not sexy. Ooh, a guy who can't perform. I'm melting.
Stopping it there. Okay, so Bill Maher, like, he always almost gets it right, but then he has to fall into sort of his progressive ideology by saying okay, yeah, men are toxic, but sometimes they can come in handy. Men come in handy all the time in a lot of different situations. It's not for the most part they're useless, but sometimes they come in handy. I get it that it was a joke, but these perpetual sort of jokes that men are kind of useless most of the time has been perpetuated through our media, entertainment, movies, televisions for a really long time, which is added to this sort of resentment or this sort of blasé, I don't care about men attitude, these, sitcoms or these movie comedies where the dad is stupid and clumsy and kind of dumb, and a mom has to come in and pick up and do all the things that the father got wrong, or the father or the patriarchy of the family is abusive and mean or aggressive. That has been perpetuated through our media for a really long time, and I think that tiny little bit of joke sort of just adds to that, instead of being there's a lot of different situations and a lot of occasions where men were very helpful and saved lives just like women have. And I do have to say, one of the sexiest things my ex-boyfriend did is one day we were laying in bed together and we both woke up because we heard a noise, and without hesitation he jumps up in his tiny little boxer briefs that he feels very well, and he grabbed a bat off underneath his side of the bed, which I never even knew was there. I never even knew there was a bat underneath the bed, but he grabs the bat and he just walks out, again, without hesitation, without fear, without worry or anything. Maybe he was scared, but he didn't show it at all, and he just went to protect me and his household. And I was sitting there that was so hot. Luckily there wasn't an intruder or anything like that, and I got to reward him for being such a manly man. More women want that. Most women want that, but because a lot of women get this sort of message, again, through social media, through universities, that type of behavior, a guy willing to put his life and protect you, is somehow toxic, because that same sort of energy, that same sort of thing, that wiring in his brain that makes him jump up and want to protect you, is the same thing that makes him a bit aggressive or a bit rough around the edges, or maybe not as willing to show their emotions or stuff like that. So you kind of sometimes take the good with the bad. Of course, with healthy masculinity, it's more well-rounded. It's not too much more of the other, but still, if you snuff out that part of a man, then you snuff out the part of the man that's willing to protect his family. Anyway, let's continue.
Melting. No, you want the guy who says, I don't need a ride, I need ammunition, because I'm John Wick. Who you also want to fuck.
The only reason why I want to say that Keanu Reeves is so adored by the female population is because he acts like a badass on screen, right? But he still has a really big reputation of being a nice guy. And he's not a nice guy in a sort of pussy way, but he's a nice guy where he just generally is just a nice person. And so the thing is, yeah, women want kind of the bad boy edge, but we still want a decent human being at the same time, right? And you can be both. And that's what I mean by well-rounded. Granted, John Wick is a character and not actually Keanu Reeves, but that's sort of the fantasy, I think, having that bad boy, but also a good guy, like a gentleman, you know what I mean? But anyway, let's continue.
Wanna fuck. I'd say wives are calling out his name during sex, but they aren't, because wives aren't having sex, or husbands, or singles. Researchers have found that Americans across the board are at a 30-year low for sex. Half of Americans don't even have it once a month. 44% of adolescent males say they don't even masturbate. Males? What, are they afraid to touch their own dicks because a gym sock can't give consent? Since the 1980s, American men have literally been losing their testosterone, with average levels declining by about 1% per year, along with declining sperm counts.
Stopping it there. Okay, so he made it a joke, but actually men having lower testosterone isn't really a laughing matter. I mean, okay, you can make a joke about anything, but my point is that lower testosterone in men is actually a health problem. It can cause mental health issues like anxiety, depression, not handling stress well, or just your emotions being unregulated, or, you know, outbursts, kind of like a female. It is a health issue, and probably one of the reasons why suicide rates in young men is on the rise, but let's continue.
1 in 4 American adults have not had any sex in the past year. The question is why? Why this sex drought? Well, I think the answer might be that men are such pussies now that actual pussies want nothing to do with them. It's the result of having it drilled into us in recent years that masculinity is itself toxic and scary and unevolved, and women don't like it. And the ones who think they do, they really don't. And if you think you do, you're wrong too. Even the act of just asking a girl out is now seen by many younger people as overly aggressive. There's a feeling that the attributes traditionally characteristic of men are inherently problematic, which sounds a lot like men are born wrong.
This is extremely true. And it's right, like a lot of young women grow up thinking that this is what they want. Oh, I want a man to understand my feelings, and I want a guy who's sensitive, and I want a guy who's empathetic, and a guy who's sympathetic. And I'm not saying men can't be that, but it's the idea that they have to do it like women do it, like females do it for it to be correct. I feel like a lot of times feminism actually betrays to women that they are preaching to. And yeah, like by the time you're born, when you're a little girl, you're being told all the time that you're beautiful, that you're a queen, that you're a princess, that you can do anything you put your mind to, that you're just as good as the boys and all these things. And so it's almost like the way girls are born are perfect, and they just need a woman in their life or a man in their life to tell them how great they are. But how boys are born are just a bit dysfunctional, and they need a woman there to sort of fix their dysfunction and teach them how to actually be a boy. So girls are born perfect, but boys are born dysfunctional, and that's not the correct thing or the correct idea or narrative to be teaching young boys as they get older, because like now they're going against their natural instincts or natural way of being, because they've been told who they are, period. Just being a male is wrong. And so just like a lot of things, a lot of these conversations when it comes to feminism or equality and stuff like that, it always goes too far because everybody wants to overcorrect things. And so the idea and the conversation of toxic masculinity in itself is really nothing wrong with that, because a man beating a woman is a toxic form of masculinity, or a man thinking sleeping around with as many women as he possibly can, picking up STDs and having children out of wedlock that's going to just continue the cycle of fatherless homes. That is toxic masculinity. Those conversations are fine, but what keeps happening is overcorrection to the point that all forms of masculinity is toxic, and that is wrong. Anyway, let's continue.
Type the phrase "men are trash" into Etsy, and you can purchase a slew of swag with that phrase on it. When the Obama administration was trying to sell Obamacare to a skeptical nation, they made an ad featuring someone who became famous as Pajama Boy. This is what they put out as an image of the perfect man. The only thing he loves more than affordable health insurance is his therapy cat and Emily in Paris. That ad might as well say, "Ask your doctor if chemical castration is right for you." Women have come a long way, baby, and the vast majority of that has been long overdue and very, very positive. But maybe in this one way, you're a victim of your own success. You can win the battle and lose the war if you harangue men into becoming less like us and more like you, and end up with someone you have absolutely no desire to fuck. And that's not good for either of the 71 genders we now have. Maybe what we need these days is more sex and less gender. Women aren't attracted to these girly men they've created. The guy you whipped into total sensitivity isn't sexy to you anymore. There's a special place in a woman's heart for a man who learns to suppress his masculinity. It's called the friend zone. And men, this is ultimately on you. She's not holding a gun to your head and making you a pussy. It's always your choice. Stop sulking. Stop complaining that it's hard to get laid. Girls don't want to have sex with you unless you put in a little effort. So put in a little effort, you stupid, lazy fucks.
All right, so that last bit was a bit harsh. Okay, I'm gonna make my point and the reason why I think men are becoming so more feminine these days. And I'm not gonna talk about the symptoms or the surface level things or just the branches of the root cause. I'm gonna talk about what I think the root problem is. And I'm gonna go fast because there's a storm coming in. All right, so I actually think the root problem is fatherless homes or not having masculine men in the home when they are fathers in the home. Because if you have a healthy masculine man in the home, that's not going to allow a narcissistic mother to sort of take hold and take control of rearing up the family, then even if that kid goes to university, see the wind, there's a storm coming. Even when that kid grows up and he's being bombarded by third wave modern day feminism talking points, or he's being bombarded by social media and TikTok and influencers and thirst traps and all those things, he was already raised right. He was raised by a man to teach him how to grow up to be a man. So he won't be that easily influenced by these things anyway.
To raise a child, they say, well, I provided with food, clothing, and shelter. That's not raising a child, that's maintaining one. To raise a child, you need a parental coalition of a man and a woman. We have sons who are, by not having a father in the home, they don't know how to respect women. They take on the black feminine female emotionalism. They're doubtful, they're indecisive, they can't make a decision. They don't know what to do about being a man because we can't teach them that. We don't have that knowledge.
It's the same thing for a female. If a female is raised in a stable, healthy, safe, secure, two-parent household, when she has a really good example of what a father or a strong male is supposed to look like, and someone to tell her she is worthy and loved and all these things, she's not going to grow up thinking her body is the only thing she has to offer to the world.
We have daughters who grow up in a home where they don't see any affection, where there's no man there. They go out into the world and try to mate. They don't have no idea how to be no woman to no man, how to function in a house with a man, because they haven't seen it. Most of our children, just like us, get all the information we have about how you be with a mate off television. It's the only medium that shows us anybody being together.
I think the root cause to all of this is it starts at home. I think the problem to a lot of shit we see in society is if we can fix this, create more stable households, a lot of these problems will go away. Because again, if you have a stable household, but again with two-parent households, we have two separate energies to that kid can sort of latch onto. You have the feminine, you have the masculine. They're going to grow up to be more well-rounded. If you teach a kid how to have critical thinking skills, they're not going to fall for the propaganda anyway because they already been raised right. I think a lot of the other stuff is just symptoms of the actual problem, and if we only focus on the symptoms, like men blaming social media and thirst traps and telling women to stop getting education and careers. A lot of women grew up with their lived experience of seeing their moms, their aunties, and their sisters get trashed on and dragged on and hurt and abused by men, and vice versa. Men have seen their mothers dunk on men, and so they grow. You're asking people that grew up not having no good examples of what a great relationship's supposed to be to trust that idea of a healthy long-term monogamous or not relationship, right? And so a lot of women are going to drop their own security with the hope of a man saving them because they have no good examples of a man doing that in their household or in their family with their lived experience. To them, even with me, it's all I've ever seen is my aunties and my mom and my sisters get hurt by men. So why would I not get an education? Why would I not get a career so I can make sure I'm okay? If I have no examples of a man coming to rescue you or come to pick you up and take care of you and be your Prince Charming and all those things, I don't think we're ever going to get back there. It's never going to be 1950 again. Women are never going to fall on their knees and be barefoot and pregnant in a household. That is not a thing that's ever going to really happen again. This is a new time and a new era, and we have to adapt to this new time and this new era. But in saying that, you want men to rise up to the occasion, but if men don't have any good role models or good fathers or good examples, it's going to be harder for them to do that, and they're going to fall more susceptible to feminist ideology because they have more feminine emotional characteristic traits because they were raised by women.
That last comment about black men being emotional, I'm saying this as a black man, it's facts. I think we don't recognize it as that in those words because I think black men being emotional sometimes looks different because we present as masculine. Like, you can present as masculine and still be emotional. The thing is, I grew up single mom. There's so much I had to do to kill that part of me, man. I don't talk about it a lot, but there's nobody there to teach you. The society is teaching you the opposite of that. Like, everywhere I turn is like, well, men need to get more in touch with their emotions. Like, nah, nigga, I need to learn to control my emotions. My issue is I wasn't taught to control my emotions. I was not taught to have discipline. I was not taught to think rationally, right? Not that you can't feel emotions. I feel emotions for sure, but at some point, you have to learn to put that aside, and that's just something your mom can't teach you.
So again, you fix the households, you fix this men and female issue, but yelling to both sides, yelling at the opposite sex and saying it's your fault or it's your fault, that's never going to fix the issue. All it does is create resentment between the sexes, and they're not going to be able to come together. Women are resentful to men because they think they ruined everything, and men are resentful to women because they think they're too privileged and they just get things thrown at them and they're thirst traps or whatever, right? I think what needs to happen is fixing a household. I think that's going to take a really long time, and it's going to be really hard to do, but I think you're never going to fix the symptoms if you don't fix the actual problem. Anyway, guys, that's it. I tried to make the end of this good. It's like a storm coming, so I'm a little bit distracted, but I hope that was coherent. I hope that I got my point across well. Let me know what you think of this video, what Bill said, what I said in the comment section below. Please like, comment, subscribe, hit the bell to get the notifications when I do upload. All of that really does help with the algorithm, guys. If you'd like to support the channel further, you can donate. My PayPal, my Cash App link is in the description box below and also in the comment section. Of course, it helps, but you don't have to. Just like, comment, and subscribe. Another great way to support this channel is either join my brand new membership program, different levels, different tiers, different perks, or you can visit my brand new merch shop, links down below. I also have a second travel vlog channel. I travel as a lifestyle or live abroad. If you'd like to know where I am in the world, you can go to the description box below and also in the comment section. Hit the link, go subscribe to my travel vlog channel, and or follow me on my travel Instagram. My stories is usually what's most up to date, and you guys have an amazing day. Bye.